are going to create an entirely new trim. All right. What's in this very box right now will continue to define our truck from the ugly soccer mom that came from the dealership lot to the new Lexus trim called Black is no longer whack. Let's go ahead and get started, folks. Woo! Gloss black. Look at these rails here. Oh shit. You guys have seen this? Gloss powder coated black. Let me lay these all out for you guys. Once I finish laying them out, if you guys haven't already figured it out, I am going to show you what we are replacing on our Lexus GX460 to continue our black is not whack trim. Rubber feet right here. I'm going to go ahead and lay it all out for you guys. Damn, these are nice. Woo! We are going to check out the fitment and everything else that comes along with this kit. And I have no doubt this will be a very nice and easy installation. These are all clipped on with side clips. You're just gonna have to pop them open. There you go. Just to take out these protective pads. Look at this. Wow. Gloss black, huh? Let's go ahead and set this aside. We already know where this goes. This is metal, guys. Plastic. We'll figure this all out once we lay all these parts out. So far, so good. When I open these packages, I don't want to just sit them down. I'm gonna take apart all of these plastic protective covers, these foam covers. Trying to do it by hand, but I'm sure it'll be a lot easier. You took a flathead screwdriver to it. And at the same time, this is the first time I'm opening this box, so I do not want to break anything. Okay. Put this cover with this base plate, metal base plate here. Okay, we got another pieces to go here. In total, I believe there's about 10 pieces. These are the end caps, okay, of the rails. And I'm going to keep these end caps along with their base so I don't mix and match them. Keep the end caps together with their plastic covers. Look at this. Woo! Okay, what else we got here? We got the hardware that comes with the box. Let's set this aside. We'll figure that out as we go. I just want to take out the main components first. More pieces here. I'm guessing this is going to be the center. Additional plastic pieces right here, plastic and metal pieces. These are covers to cover up the screws. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a step back and see what we got here. From front to middle to rear of the vehicle. The front assembly is going to be the small cap. The small base, I'm going to be using 2 factory bolts that came off my OEM rails. Comes with a rubber feet pad. This is a plastic cover that covers underneath of this aluminum base right here. Here's the rails. We're going to use the OEM bolts that came off our OEM rails. The attachment point is going to be towards the rear of the vehicle. It's not going to be in the middle of the rail. It's going to be towards the back. Remember that when you install this. Here is its feet. The feet has a cover that comes off in order for you to install these bolts. And here's the rubber feet. The rear of the vehicle, you're going to have the bigger cover. This cover piece right here is going to go underneath right here. If you flip it upside up, you're going to be using 2 factory OEM bolts. I am not using the bolts that came with the kit. I'm going to be using the factory bolts. The factory bolts has its own rubber gasket washer around the head of the fastener. It comes with the rubber feet. Make sure you wipe clean these channels really good. I'm getting rid of all the dust and debris out of these channels to get ready for our weather seal. Of rubber weather seal, it's actually rubber foam. You're going to start on one end of the factory OEM weather seal right here. And you are going to start right there, and you're going to tuck this weather seal into the channel, and you are going to go along this channel right here. Now we can go ahead and remove the top layer. The top layer right here has no tape on it. It's just a cover. I'm going to remove this, toss this away. Right here, the good thing about rubber foam weather seal is you can tuck it. So I'm going to tuck it underneath the channels right here. Just tuck it inside. You want to make a good seal. You don't have to worry about it looking pretty because nobody's going to see it. What you want to really do is create a good water seal. So this channel right here doesn't collect rainwater and find its way into your vehicle's headliner. Okay, so once you tape down your weather seal, you're going to find out where the OEM holes are, and it's not hard to find because they are sticking up. You're going to get your brand new razor blade, and you're going to cut a portion out of where these holes are just by touch and feel. The piece that I cut out, I'm going to go ahead and cut out a little piece and put it in between the 2 holes to create another seal. I'm going to show this all to you guys in a bit. And this is going to go under our base plate. Okay, so when we tighten down the bolts, and there's going to be a rubber foot pad over it, and this should create a pretty good seal. Now I'm going to go ahead and find out where the holes are in the middle section right here. I'm going to cut it out. Then I'm going to go ahead and put back the middle section right here. Okay, perfect. Now I'm doing the same to the back of the vehicle right here. I found the 2 holes. Go ahead and cover the middle section with my excess piece. And there you go. I created a seal for the rear of the vehicle. Okay, now folks, we're going to go back to our setup we have on the ground here, and we are going to attach the rear plate with the rails with the front plate. And how do you connect these? Easy. We're going to take the plates and we're going to slide it inside the rails until these 2 holes line up with the base 2 holes. After they line up, you're going to go inside the kit, the hardware kit that came with the rails, and they are going to be Allen keys right there. Okay, you can go back to your toolbox of goodies and get the Allen key that fits those screws, and we are going to attach the rear feet base to the rails itself. I'm going to go ahead and screw it in by hand first. Once I got a few threads in there, I'm going to go ahead and tighten them. Beautiful. Okay, now let's go to the front. I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same thing I did with the rear base. I'm going to take the front base, I'm going to slide it inside of the rail until these two holes line up with the base, and I'm going to screw it in with my little conical flush head Allen screw that came with the kit. Going to go ahead and screw it in by hand first. Want to make sure I get a few threads on there before I use my motor. Okay, now we are going to go to the center and put on the center feet. Okay folks, I'm going to flip the rail upside down. I'm going to go ahead and line up this hole inside the base plate. I'm going to line up this hole inside the base plate with these two pins, with this female hole and these two pinholes, okay? Once I line them up, I got to make sure that when it stands, when it sits like this, there's going to be two additional screws that's going to be facing outside, towards the outside of the vehicle, not towards the roof, okay? So let's flip it over upside down again. I'm going to go ahead and use the screw, the Allen screw. It is a pan head that comes with the kit. I'm going to grab a washer, okay, and I am going to screw this base plate in. Make sure you screw it in by hand first. Your kit comes with these foam donuts also, with a little sticky tape on the side. You're going to want to peel these donuts off, and you're going to stick it at the bottom of these base plates. You're going to have a total of 8, 2 per base plate, 2 in the front, 2 in the rear for the drivers, 2 in the front, 2 in the rear for the passenger. After you went ahead and put on these donuts, go ahead and put on the rubber seal. If you don't know the difference between the front and the rear, the front looks like this, the rubber seal looks like this. The rear actually has a little dip right here. So go ahead and put the rubber seal on. Same thing for the rear. You want to put on the rubber gasket here. So for the center brackets, guys, we're not going to be able to use the OEM bolts that came with the vehicle. We're not going to be able to use the bolts that came with the kit either, because the OEM rails came with a 1-inch barrel that you cannot remove off the rail itself. So I had to go to the hardware store and buy zinc coated bolts. They are M8-1.25 by 16 millimeters, okay? I bought 4 of these bolts. I'm gonna go ahead and take each bolt and put it in each center bracket hole. Get it ready. We are gonna take it to the vehicle. We are currently on the driver's side of the vehicle right now. We're gonna take our bracket, the bolt that came with the bracket is going to be facing outward, okay? So we're going to take these 2 holes right here and line them up with the holes inside the vehicle. Make sure you're spreading your rubber foam that you bought from the hardware store. Spread it so it gets even distribution underneath this bracket. Now you're going to take the bolts that we just purchased from the hardware store. We're going to screw it in by hand. Very nice fit. Okay, this is the passenger side rail. This is towards the tailgate right here. We're going to take the end cap. How do we know it's the end cap? We already distinguished that the end cap the rear end cap is going to be a lot larger than the forward end cap. Okay, so we're going to take the larger end cap, we're going to look underneath, and it's going to be stamped number 2. So we're going to look for the under cap that also has a number 2 on it. See number 2 right here? We're going to take number 2 and we're going to take the number 2 end cap, and these two are going to go together. But we're going to take the under end cap and we're going to put it on first. Underneath here, this clip right here is going to go inside that slot right there. And these two clips right here, this clip right here is going to go inside this slot right here. We could do this on the workbench right now. I'm going to go ahead and take that clip right there, slide it into the slot, and I'm going to pop this above the rubber mat, and it should pop right in. There you go. Now if I was to flip it over, you see this is the end cap that covers the bare metal of the base plate. All I did was snap it in. We are not going to put on the top end cap yet because we have to screw this onto the roof of our vehicle first. After we put in our 2 bolts, we're going to snap this end cap on. Okay, so let's go ahead and take this to the vehicle. Go ahead and put the under caps on every single corner. Every single one has a little imprint that's going to match with their respective end cap. Okay, 2 goes with 2, 3 goes with 3, 4 goes with 4, 1 goes with 1, and so on. Okay, let's go ahead and take this to the vehicle. So now once I lined everything up the way I want it to, I'm going to take the factory bolts, I'm going to screw it in by hand. Make sure it catches on at least 3 threads. Do not use any power motors at this point. We're just temporarily installing it and we're going to adjust as needed. Remember, this is the passenger side. Now we're going to go to the center. We're going to make sure that the hole is lined up. Even though you see a gap right here, don't worry about it, because once we tighten all of this down, the whole entire rail is going to push down onto this rubber gasket. When it pushes down on this rubber gasket, you're going to pay attention to these 2 holes right here. It's got to follow the rubber gasket's 2 pins right here. It's got to fall inside the hole, okay? And that's how you line up this center rubber gasket. Let's go ahead and place the small bolt that came with your kit, and you're going to want to screw it in by hand a few threads. Now we could go ahead and tighten these bolts down slowly, because what I'm trying to do is, while I'm tightening all this down and while the rail pushes down on these rubber gaskets, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to pay attention to the alignment of this rubber gasket with these 2 holes on this bracket. Okay, we don't want it to go off, because once we tighten all these bolts down, those 2 and those 2, this will sit down on these 2 pins, and they got to fall inside those holes nicely. After I tighten them all down, I'm going back to the center, and these 2 rubber pins fell inside of the hole, and everything is a great fit. The center piece is just as easy. All it is just slide it in and it snaps into place. Now we're going to take the front cover piece, and all it is really a snap-on. You have some tabs right here at the end part of it. Here's the forward part of it, and here's the end part of it. It's going to slide into your center rails. Okay, so slide it in first. Once it slides in, the rest is just snaps into place. The rear piece is just as easy. These tabs right here slides inside of the rails. Slide that in first. Once you slide it in, you get everything situated. You're going to want to snap the rest of this into place.